Hey guys, welcome back. Bob here. What I wanted to do was just give you a little insight about floor flanges and how I go about setting floor flanges, the different types of floor flanges there are in a PVC application. We're talking PVC now. There are a lot of applications on how you would set a toilet bowl, but for this video, we're working with PVC. The size I'm using today is 3-inch. You may be using 4-inch. In this case, I'm using 3-inch. So my flanges are I'm illustrating 4-inch by 3-inch floor flanges. And there's a few different styles, and I'm going to illustrate 2 of them right here in this video. But what we have here on my right, your left, is a flange that actually would glue into a fitting. So this is a male spigot end, and actually this is made to glue into the female end of a fitting as such. So this is how this would work. And in a case like this, when our bend is below the subfloor, I like to leave my bend approximately, in this case we have 3/4 inch plywood, so I'm going to set my bend about 3/4 of an inch below the floor. And what you're looking at here is plywood, but we have to imagine a finished tile floor. And in this case, we would put our glue and primer, glue it down inside the bend, and then we're going to be set down and we're going to be in business. And what you would do, in this case, you can glue this without worrying about positioning where the flange bolts are going to go, because you have this adjustability here. So you can glue it, and then you can worry about where you're going to put these bolts. You have that adjustability feature in it, which is kind of a nice touch. So then you would adjust it accordingly. Get your bolts parallel here, and then you can screw your flange into the flooring material. On the other hand, on my left here, which is going to be your right, I have the type of a flange that actually it glues to the inside of a pipe, not to the inside of a fitting. So to illustrate that, what I did was I actually glued a small piece of pipe inside my elbow here just to show you that this actually glues inside the pipe. And let me show you a piece of pipe. So if my piece of pipe was coming up from below, this is what we have, and that slips in there nicely. So in a case like that, what I like to do is I actually like to bring my pipe, which is here, I like to bring my pipe flush with the finished surface. So if we can imagine that this wood is the finished tile, and then we can just come and glue our flange, and that's going to sit down flush. Now the only thing to be cautious of with this one is this is not adjustable. So I would caution you that you're going to have to set up the location of where your bolts are going to be first, because you're not going to have the luxury of turning the flange later on. So you would actually get your bolts in such a position here, and you'd put them in the slots, and then you'd want to line these up, and I like to have them at the end, not the part where you actually introduce them into the flange, at the very end as such. And then I would turn my flange to where they're parallel. Once I have that in that spot, what I'll do is I'll put some kind of a pencil mark on the flange and on the floor, so that when I'm ready to glue up, all I have to do is I'll put a mark in the front, I'll put a mark in the back, and all I have to do is match up the marks, and I know that when I glue it in, my bolts are going to be where they belong. So in a case like that, we would have that marked up. Then you could remove it, you'd put your glue and primer on there, and then you'd set this down in place, and you'd match your marks up, and then this flange would be sitting in the right position. Now what I want to do is drop down below here and give you a shot from below to see what it looks like. Yeah, I have a preference for an all PVC flange, only because this is never going to deteriorate or rust on you. This, although it has the adjustability, which is a great little touch, it also is just it's like a primed piece of steel, and over time this will deteriorate. I mean, it's going to take a while before it does because it's protected by your wax gasket, but nevertheless, I'm kind of privy to this. Now, this one glues inside the pipe. This one glues inside the fitting. They actually have one that glues over the pipe. I don't have that here with me, but you have the option of a flange that would actually glue over the pipe. You have to just be sure of what the plumbing supply person gives you, or what your plans are and how you're going to go about roughing this in. But you just need to be aware of what you have and what you need to have on hand when it comes time to actually setting up whether or not you're going to be using an inside the hub, inside the pipe, over the pipe, etc. So I'm going to drop down here and just give you a view from the bottom of what it looks like. Hopefully you can see down on the bottom there, and this would be the subfloor, and in this case I have my pipe, which would represent the exit end of where the water is going to be flowing. And in this case here, I'm going to have my hub about 3/4 of an inch or so below the subfloor. And my flange is actually, I'm going to just take this away from you. You'll see my flange, and I'll bring this up. And this is how this particular floor flange works. And that would be the type that glues inside of a fitting. Pretty simple. On the other hand, I'll take this away, and as you can see, I have a piece of pipe glued in here. Now I'm just going to reverse the process. If you're actually going to have the type of flange that glues inside of the pipe, in this case you would come up, you'd bring your pipe flush with the top of the finished floor, and then it's just a matter of gluing that flange in, and that's, in this case, this is the way this works. And I don't know which way you're going to be, where your waistline's coming in from. It could be coming in from left, it could be coming in from right. That's going to be determined by you and the scope of your project. But pretty much that's it, guys, for this video. I just wanted to make you aware. Again, two different types here that I have. I have the type that glues into a fitting. I have the type that glues into the inside of the pipe. Don't forget, you have the type that glues onto the outside of a pipe. So you have some options, and they come in different sizes. I'm using 3-inch waistline today, so I'm working with 4x3 floor flanges. If you're working with all 4-inch, you would have full 4-inch floor flanges, and it'll work just the same way. And just bear in mind, if you have an adjustable ring around your flange, that's great. You can go ahead and glue away and worry about positioning your flange bolts later on. If you have a solid PVC floor flange like I have over here on my left, your right, you'd be well advised to mark it up, do a dry run of where you want your bolts to end up, mark it with your pencil, then you can take it out, glue it up, and just match up your pencil marks, and you're on your way. So guys, I hope that was helpful to you. Again, info@bobsplumbingvideos.com. Drop me an email. If you're not too sure about what I went over here today, just drop me an email. I'll be glad to, explain to you. I'll go over if there's something you didn't understand or there's something I missed. Please do tell me. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. So everyone, stay well. See you next time.